Hello and welcome to another pocket scrapping process video. I'm Tracy, also known as Mercy Tiara, and I make scrapbooking process videos and more here on my channel. Today I am documenting what ends up being just Easter. I thought I was documenting March, and then I realized I was documenting April, and it turns out I only really captured the Easter long weekend. So I'll talk about what I'm going to do about my titling of that towards the end of this video. But as you can see, I have that I'm figuring out my photos here. I have printed up all of my photos for, well, since the last time that I did a pocket page. And it includes lots of general life photos, but also a bunch from Easter. And it's becoming obvious that I can fill a whole spread with just what we did over the Easter long weekend. So I'm putting all of those photos aside, and then I'm making another pile of photos that include my everyday life, kind of like around before and after. Well, I guess just before Easter, because I did this on Easter weekend, on Easter Monday. So you can see those two bold cards that say April and March there. I just wanted to mention that those are printables that I got from Paisley Press, which is a website that features the digital work of lots of super talented, creative scrapbookers who give us lots of beautiful elements to work with. I spent some time over on that website and I purchased a couple of different kits from Retro Hip, and also a few from some of the other creators over there. And the ones that you see there today are called Mega Months, and they're from Retro Hip, which you can find over on Paisley Press. So while I was talking about that, I just spread my photos across the templates that I have. These are just Project Life page templates that I have. I just basically sketched out the layout of a Design A page protector, and I use these every day. Now I have in my hand here a bunch of cards from Mercy Tiara Kits, mostly, as well as a couple of patterned papers so these are all Mercy Tiara kit cards, and then this is a pattern paper. These are all pattern papers also from a 6x8 paper pad that I cut down. The grid cards are from Mercy Tiara Kits, and all the rest of the cards are Mercy Tiara Kits. Many of them you'll see will be familiar if you've watched my kit unboxings, but all of the ones that I'm working through right now, these orangey, pinky, yellowy ones, those are all from an unreleased kit that I designed for the month of May of 2025, but it looks like our shop will probably not be up to sell these, so I'm going to hang on to them for a future date. But in the meantime, I get to use them because they're here in my craft room. So I've been documenting my life via Project Life for many years, and although you may not have seen any videos of the process, I have been sharing the process via live stream with my patrons. So you can check out my Patreon if you're interested in checking out live real-time videos. You can watch them live or you can watch the replays. They're all over there on my Patreon stream. You can join my Patreon for fairly inexpensively. For about $2 a month is where it starts, and you get access to all of my videos for that amount. So I really appreciate the support of all of my Patreon members, which is why I do live streams almost every week with them. And lately I've been doing a lot of pocket pages because I've been just trying to keep caught up, which I am. And so, yeah, it's going pretty well. This is a bunch of paper that I have in my stash. So some of that looks like it's from a 6x8 paper pad, but these are almost all from Kelly Perky kits from quite some time ago. I don't know if she still does her kits like this, but they used to come with some of this 6x8 paper. And I like to use these 6x8 papers for the foldable elements on the right-hand side of my spread. And so I just pulled out a couple that I thought would work. Most of these end up getting completely covered. So I usually try to pick cards that I think I wouldn't use because I will be covering them, but I wouldn't otherwise use. So as you can see, I am just using my little tiny scoreboard. It's just an inexpensive scoreboard that I used to score these. I drew a marker line down where the where the 4-inch mark is on it so that I could easily score these because that's pretty much the only thing I use that scoreboard for is making these tent folds. Now you can put a tent fold on the left-hand page as long as it's in the top row. So I'm going to be putting one of these tent fold cards right here. You won't see any of the green that's on the back of the card. I'm just using the scoring tool to really burnish that down so that the card doesn't flip up too much. This photo is the same as the photo that I just took away. It's just I had to print it to fit, so it had a little bit of a band above and below it. Those two photos in the top pocket there that are on the tent fold, those are very similar to one another, but I couldn't choose between the two of them, so that's why I did a tent fold. And now with this one, this is a card that came in an MTK pocket kit, and I just arranged it. These are designed specifically to fit with 3x4 and 2x3-inch photos. So I put my little 2x3-inch photo on the bottom there. It left me a couple of lines showing. And then, of course, I have that swatch of watercolor on the top of the card that will house my title. Pardon me, I keep losing my voice, so my apologies for the gravelly voice that is going to be probably all through this video. So apologies right now for all of it. I have these sets of letter stickers. These are from Simple Stories, and we were including them as an add-on option for our kits. And so I have a few of them in my stash from various MTK kits. And I am going to spell out. At first, I was going to put Ussie and then put car, maybe in tinier letters above it. But it became clear to me that I can fit both the words Ussie and car in this space. So I'm going to go ahead and do so. These cards are designed so that these letters fit well in all of the spaces, because these are one of my favorite letters to use. I like using them because it's fairly inexpensive to get a whole bunch of letters and a whole bunch of colors. They all coordinate and work well with one another, and they're super, super thin. So they're great for a project where you don't want to have a whole lot of bulk. This card, this floral card, is from the MTK Unreleased May kit, so apologies that this card is not available at this time, but it will be available at some point. Just laying the photo on there, taping it down, and outlining it. Then for this card, I actually have a bit of a story to tell, so I want to grab this card, and I'm thinking that I'll want to use a little flippity flap for this. Now, because it's on the left page, there's no actual entrances to the pockets on this side. So I have to use one of these adhesive plastic flips that are from Simple Stories. I think they're called photo flips. I always call them flippity flaps, but they're photo flips. And I'm just picking another MTK card to go on the back side of that to hold some journaling. And now here I'm making a mistake. I'm actually going to trim this down because I'm thinking I want to tuck this into the pocket. And as I just said, there are no pocket holes on this side of the page. So I'm not sure what I was thinking here, but I trimmed that down. I don't need to trim it down, but it's fine that it is trimmed. Now, if you look really closely, you can see Scott's head amongst the cracks in the rocks there. He was actually kind of hiding behind a big giant rock. And there's a little bit of a story to go with that. So I would like to find myself a really bold arrow that I can use to point to Scott's head so that it doesn't look like it's just a bunch of rocks that I took a picture of. Which would have been cool also, but I just want to draw your attention to his head. So at first I'm thinking this one, I like that it almost looks like it's lit up, like it's a sign for a stage show or something. And so that is kind of funny. I like that idea. But then as I was putting away my little box of arrows, this one was upside down and on the bottom layer. And I thought, oh, that's nice too. I like that both of those arrows are really bold red. There is lots of orangey, reddy colors in other places on this spread. So this is going to work really well. Taking my art glitter glue here and just gluing that chipboard arrow just like that. I keep all of my dimensional arrows in that little case that you saw. And that just, arrows are something I reach for a lot, so I like to have them all in one place so I can grab them when I need them. Now, the flip side of that, I want to be able to flip it up and have some journaling lines there. So I'm just going to use my little journaling stencil, which will also be coming to the shop when it reopens. So I know that lots of people are waiting for that to become available. You'll have to wait a little bit longer, but I drew lines by using every other line on that journaling stencil, so that my lines are a little bit further apart than usual. And I'm writing here with my Indanthrine blue pen. This is from Faber-Castell. And the writing here says, the angles of the rocks makes for fun climbing and some interesting visual perspectives. Scott was playing tricks hiding in a crevice. So then the second photo underneath shows Sophie leaning down, acting as though she's going to help him up. She didn't, but that's kind of what it looks like. Now, these are element stickers that I provide for my patron members. Every month or so, I like to make a couple of little digital items available as an extra little thank you to those who support me. These black and white stickers are another thing that I just put up on my Patreon. So if you're a member, please make sure that you grab those when they're posted. So I decided to just cover, there was a part of our fire table that just has an ugly cover on it. So I just used the to-do sticker to cover that up. Then there was this awkward white space. So I just added a little die cut piece from the fabulous kit from MTK. And that makes that card done. And on the to-do list, I just put paint rocks, sunbathe, cook ham, sing and dance. Those are all things we did on Easter Sunday. Then back to those elements, I ran them through my brother's scan and cut, and with a half cut. I printed them on sticker paper, then half cut them on my brother's scan and cut, and it just works amazingly. It works so well, and easy as pie. So I really, really love having these elements on hand. I just found that I needed a little something extra for my pocket pages. And having these on hand, they're very versatile and useful, and I can make them in any color I want. So I'm really enjoying having those. These are labels that are also exclusive to the MTK kits. Each kit had a different color scheme of labels that coordinated with it, and I had all the kits, so I have all the labels in this little folder. It's like a little clear folder. They're actually job ticket holders that Jennifer McGuire uses them to store her cardstock in. I use them for a variety of different things, including cardstock. So we did build a little Inukshuk while we were at Peggy's Cove this time. There's this section of Peggy's Cove that has hundreds of them. We always love to look at them, but this time we actually made one. It's the first time we made one at Peggy's Cove, so that was pretty fun. I had a really hard time getting my phone to spell Inukshuk for me, and when it finally did, it spelled it wrong. It spelled it with two N's. So this is me trying to get Siri to do it, and then I realized I just needed to Google it, so I found it. This is it actually spelled wrong because this is when Siri told me. So this label is actually, it's uneven, like it's not straight. And so I was going to pull it off, and then I realized I'm going to make more of a mess by pulling it off. I'll just leave it crooked. It's okay. So I finally figured out the spelling of Inukshuk, and thanks to one of my patrons, Harmony, who helped me with that. And I just wrote down we made our own Inukshuk on that label, and that's all I need for that. I really like that photo with the lighthouse in the background. It's really cute. So that means that this particular side is done, and it's time to move on to the right-hand side of this spread. So I have these two similar photos, but they include different people. So Liv was not present in one of them, and Mads was not present in the other. So I decided to use them both. I'll put one on the outside of this tent flip and one on the inside of the tent flip. And then I would like to incorporate this patterned paper, which I picked out to go with this card, but I wanted to add a little bit of flair to it. So I grabbed this punch. This is my double embossed dotted lace punch. It's from EK Success, and it has a strange name because it doesn't make any sense. that it would have that name, but that's the name it has. It is not really embossed and it's not really lace either. Those dots don't even show up when you use the punch most of the time. So, anyhow, it's the little enigma of a punch that we have. So I put one strip of the scalloped pattern paper on the bottom of the photo and one on the bottom of the journaling space. And I just felt like I needed a third little chunk of that pattern. So I just grabbed a strip of it that isn't punched. It would have looked cute to have the punching as well, but I wasn't sure how much room I'd have for embellishments on this because I knew I had some stuff to say. So I just added the third little piece of pattern paper in a little chunk off on the right-hand side at the top of the journaling piece. And I'm not going to put any title or anything on this, but I am going to use my roller date stamp. I'm finding April 18th, 2025. I'm just going to ink that up with plain black ink. I use VersaFine as my default black ink. I'm using my Sharpie pen here to write out my journaling, which says, after our 2 hikes, we headed home to relax, and Sophie decided to make some s'mores in the fire table because Sophia had never tried them. Mads dropped by to visit, and we just hung out roasting marshmallows as the sun set. Sophia really enjoyed them. Sophie's playlist was so great, she shared it with me for the future. That last little bit of journaling was sort of to fill the page. There were a couple of extra lines. And I also have a feeling that I'm going to be documenting that playlist in the coming weeks. So I thought I would introduce it here as a form of storytelling foreshadowing so that later on when you see that playlist, if you've been reading closely, you'll know where it came from. Now those scallop pieces, they kind of blend right in, especially the two that are on the cardstock as opposed to the one that's on the photo. So I've decided, I was just drinking, keeping myself hydrated. I've decided to do some outlining here. And I'm pretty chatty with my Patreon members as I do these, so that's why there's sometimes little pauses and breaks, or I bring in things to show people that we've been talking about. We have great old conversations about, sometimes it's about scrapbooking, sometimes it's about life and our habits and, all kinds of good stuff. So next I have this photo that is not going to be in a pocket or a flip. I mean, it'll be in the pocket, but it won't have any interactive elements. So I just grabbed a little sticker from my sticker sheet there, and it's the one with the star and it's blue, and I just wrote Easter egg hunt, and that's it. That one is done. Now I have another interactive element here, so another tent flip card, and I have that, of course, that Kelly Perky piece that I had already pre-folded. But the more I thought of it, the more I realized that I don't think I really need a flip to tell this story. I didn't need the extra picture. So I got rid of the smaller picture that it just included the dip was the only reason I wanted to include that. So I took one of my black and white stickers, used it as a label, and then I took one of my element stickers, and I have 2 different colorways of these element stickers. I have them to match the fabulous pocket card kit, and then I also have them to match the unreleased Hello Spring kit as well. So, but this is one of the black and white stickers, and I just used my little stencil to draw some lines in pencil, and I wrote, Sophie made air fryer roasted carrots for Easter lunch, and then I put yum inside of that little element sticker, and then I went back with my eraser, and I'm just erasing those little lines just like that. Use a very light touch so that you don't also erase any of your journaling or wear off any of the paper on the thing that you're erasing off of. Now, when I woke up this morning, this was actually documented yesterday. Today's Tuesday, and it was documented yesterday, which was Monday, Easter Monday. When I woke up, I got the news that the Pope had passed away. And so I did some screenshots of my news app where I read my newspaper articles, and I just printed it up and put it here. I'm putting a little piece of torn paper to pop out underneath of the news article. It's not the whole news article, it's just the first couple paragraphs, but I thought that that was enough to it just says a little bit about the Pope and what he was known for, particularly here in Canada. So I have this little space and I would like to put a little cross in it. And I don't really have any kind of Christian religious symbols in any part of my scrapbooking supplies. But I thought maybe a little T would be good, and that a little small T would end up looking like a cross. Now, these are one of my all-time favorite thicker sets, and I'm a little reluctant to use my last T on this set, but I'm going to do it anyways. And it looks a little bit like a cross. Sure it does. Yeah, it does. I cut off the little curvy edge on it because I thought that that made it look even more like a T and not a cross. I'm just going to leave the cross plain in the center of the grid. The whole thing is on a MTK grid card, a 4x6 grid, and I'm just going to leave it like that. I thought it might look nice with something underneath of it, a shape of some sort, but I ultimately decided to just leave it as it is. Now here's another one of those Kelly Perky cards. I cut it in half and then I folded it, scored it at the 4-inch mark so that it could be another little tent flip 4 3x4 pocket. I am adhering the photo of the little cafe that's along the walking path. And then on the inside, I am putting 2 photos that come from our walk. And I'm not going to put anything on those photos. I'm just letting them speak for themselves, which I like to do sometimes. And I'm just going through all of the different letter stickers that I have here. I have a lot because the lot comes in each of these packets. And I think I have 3 packets plus a couple of extra ones from some MTK kits that included some partial sets. And so I am going to spell out rails to trails using these letter stickers from Simple Stories. I'm going to use the burgundy ones down here, kind of a really browny burgundy. And then I'm going to choose a craft color for the word rails. So once I get rails and trails in there, then I'm going to be looking for something to fill up the space on either side of those words. And I love arrows in these circumstances. And so I have these sets. A lot of these are the same set, but printed differently with different settings. And so they look slightly different, but they're all the same. I had 2 sets of this printed up, but I only scan and cut one of them, and I want 2 of the exact same arrows. So see the green arrow that's about center of that page? So the other sheet was not cut. So I just grabbed my scan and cut mat and ran that through my scan and cut. Now, while I'm waiting for that to cut, I will grab the other green arrow. It has a bit of a white edge on it. I could have trimmed that off before I put it down, but I left it on and I'll show you what I do about that. So I'm going to have the arrows pointing inwards on this. I just found a marker that was almost the same color as the arrow itself, and I'm just lightly going over the little white edge to cover it in. And you really can't even tell. I'm looking at it right now and I can't even see that I even did that. So while I wait for the other arrow, I thought I would just start working on this next card. I'm going to even out the little edge, the white trim around the edge of that photo. These are printed. This one is printed at 2x3. And it really doesn't take very long at all for the Brothers Scan and Cut to make good work of those stickers. So I will grab those and put my little mat away. And now I'm just going to grab that arrow. So all that just so I could have a second arrow, but I do really like how it looks with those two arrows like that. And now I do have to put the word to in here because this series of trails is called Rails to Trails. It used to be railroad tracks. And so I'm picking a letter sticker that is almost exactly the same color as the arrow itself. So it looks like it, so that it spells out Rails to Trails. And now I'm back to this second set of letter stickers, same brand, same, I actually, as you can see, I have 3 full sets of these. One doesn't have one is, the sheets are all pulled out of the pad. But I very quickly decided to use this light set. I think this is called the spring set, if I'm not mistaken. It could be called lights. And so I'm just spelling out the word dinner here, and then I will put the word Easter on top. And because there's less space, I will put Easter using the little tile letter stickers. I'm going to use this peachy pink color to spell out Easter. And that is going to leave me a pretty awkward looking space right in front of those 2 words. So I grabbed my little tray of die cuts that came in the Fabulous kit from MTK. And I am just going to try to find something that's going to work here. Love these little orange flowers, and they just work perfectly. They pick up on the orange tones in the meal. So all the sweet potatoes and squash and carrots, and the ham itself is a dark color as well. So there's lots of pinks and reds and oranges in the photo. So I put another little flower up in the little space. There was just a tiny little space in between the 2 R's, the R from Easter and the R from dinner. So I put a little flower in there as well. So the second half of this page is coming together quite well. I have this other card, which is also from the MTK unreleased Hello Spring kit. And these are the element stickers that I designed specifically to go with that kit. So I haven't been using those all along. I've been using the elements that go with the Fabulous kit. I'm kind of mixing kits here, which is one of the things I love to do. And I'm taking a couple of those element stickers. I like the ones that have an oval on one side and then straight on the other side, and they're really nice for cutting off, having them look like they go off the edge of your card. So I put those 2 there. They're just these cute little bubble capsules almost for housing some writing. And on it, I'm writing sprained ankle from Peggy's Cove. And then on the other one, I'm writing fell down the stairs this morning. So I actually have 2 injuries on the same foot. My heel hurts and also my ankle hurts. So first, the orange little bullet says sprained ankle from Peggy's Cove. And now I am looking for an ampersand or a plus sign. What I really wanted was a plus sign, but I don't have any plus signs, or if I do, I can't find one pretty easily. I know I have some stamp pluses but I wanted something with dimension. I wanted a chipboard or a wood veneer. I'm really loving digging out wood veneer and really kind of returning to the use of wood veneer after a long time of, I think I might have overused them for a while and got tired of them, and now I just love them again. So then I wrote down, after I found the ampersand, I put, and fell down the stairs this morning. So I was just elevating and had a little heat pad on my foot there on Easter Sunday while everybody else cooked. I got to rest, which was really nice. So this is how this spread looks. I really love it. So I want to just talk about that top piece there in the top left-hand corner. It says April. And remember, that is from Retro Hip. It looks like she dropped the mama from her branding. So I think she used to be called Retro Hip Mama. But it just was standing out a little bit too much from the rest of the page that had a lot of florals and a lot of pinks and reds. So I decided to take this pattern paper. This is from a Simple Stories 6x8 paper pad that was an optional add-on to the Fabulous kit when it released in January, I think, or February. I think it was January. anyhow, that just adds so much to that card, and I really love how it looks. However, I think I'm actually going to replace that card because this is not really April. This is just Easter weekend. So I have that card already done. The next time I do some pocket scrapping, I'm going to take that card off of this and make a card that says Easter. And then I'm going to use that card on for the title for the next spread that I do. So I don't always include this, but I wanted to include just this footage of me putting the pockets in place. I included this because I actually watched a couple of process videos. I don't often get to watch process videos, but I really love seeing people put their cards into their albums. So I thought if I really love that much, then maybe other people would. It's kind of satisfying, like you watch someone make all these cards. It's nice to see them actually come together for the final kind of, the final part. So I thought I would include it here. It kind of depends on how much time these videos take. Like we're at the 30-minute mark, so I thought it's okay if I added a bit of footage with this in it. If I was pushing 40 or 45 minutes, which some of my pocket processes do, I probably would not have included that. But let me know if you enjoyed seeing the cards come into their pockets, because if you do, I will keep that in mind. I can't please all the people all the time, but I would love to know what you think of that, because if I have a few minutes, I'd be happy to film the process of putting them into their pockets. I decided that this card with the arrows pointing down just didn't have quite enough, so I added some puffy hearts. Thank you so much for watching, and a big shout out to my amazing Patreon supporters. These folks truly help make this channel happen, so I'm grateful to each and every one of them. Thank you so much also for watching to the end, and here are some photos of how this spread looks. And I also always include a couple of photos of the flips being opened. I did not journal yet on the back side of that photo flip. I wanted to wait until all of my stories came together and then decide what I want to put in that flip, because it's a fairly large 4x6 journaling space. So it gives me a chance to write down maybe how all of these stories kind of connect to each other. Maybe what we did on Friday, what we did on Saturday, and what we did on Sunday, so that the stories make a little bit more sense and you have a bit of context for the smaller cards. So that's my thought on that. And you'll have to check out my next process video where I will pop in at the end and show you this month's spread as well as how it fits with the next month's spread. So take care and have a really great scrappy week.